Okay, so we're in the last section for for inequalities. The first problem is absolute value of x is less than 3. And what does that mean? It means that the absolute value of x has to be less than 3. So the distance from 0 to 3 on the number line has to be less than 3. It means that your distance could be 3 or 2 or 1 or 0.5. So that's all numbers less than 3 to 0. It also means that if we had a distance of 3 and less this way, that you'd be all numbers that are actually greater than 3, okay, up to 0. So you're greater than 3, but you're less than the number 3. So let's talk about what if you're greater. If I'm greater than 2, that means my distance is greater than 2, and you're greater than the number 2. So case 1 would be you remove the bars, you have a distance greater than the number 2, but you would have to flip and negate if you're talking about the other direction because the number line flips. So it's just like when we multiplied and divided by a negative, we flip the sign, okay, for the negative result because the order changes. So if we solve for the first inequality, we get x is greater than 8, and we get x is less than 4. So on the line, you put 4, you put 8, doesn't matter where, just make sure they're in the right order. You'd say, okay, your number has to be greater than 8 to make a distance greater than 2. If I put, let's say, 9 in, 9 minus 6 is 3. Is the distance 3 greater than the distance of 2? Yes. Okay, and now it's saying that I have to be less than 4. What's a number less than 4? Let's pick 2. If I put 2 in here, 2 minus 6 is negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is 4. 4 is greater than 2. So if you're like, huh? Pretty much all you do is you rewrite like you normally did without the bars because you're saying the stuff inside has to be less than 5, but the stuff inside also could have been greater than the opposite. So you write it as is, and then you flip the sign for the negative version, okay? That's what you do over and over because we flip the sign because the direction changes. If I want a distance less than 5, then that number has to be less than 5. If I want a distance less than 5, I got to be greater than the number negative 5 because negative 4, negative 3, and negative 2 are actually greater numbers, even though the distance is shorter. Okay, so if we solve for both here, I get 4, and I get negative 6. So here I am at negative 6, here I am at 4. I have to be less than 4, but I have to be greater than negative 6. So you're in between here. You're in between here. Now you can check to see if it works. Let's pick a number in between here. Let's pick 0. If I put 0 in here, 0 plus 1 is 1, and that is less than 5, so that works. Let's pick a number over here to see that it shouldn't work. If I pick 5, 5 plus 1 is 6. Yep, that wouldn't work. So this is our answer. You can always check. All right. Now it's the same thing again, but it's just we're using equal to. So it's just more practice. So you write like normal, and then you flip the sign when you're negating because the direction changes on the number line. When you go to solve, you add 2 to both sides, you add 2 to both sides, and you should get a negative 8, and you should get a 12. And you have to be less than 12, but you have to be greater than negative 8 to satisfy or make this true. Well, let's pick a number in between here. Let's pick 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. Yep, that's less than 10. Let's pick a number over here. 20. 20 minus 2 is 18. That wouldn't be true, so that's why there's nothing here. That's it. That's your answer. Same thing on the back. x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 4. X plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 4. When we subtract 4 on both sides, we're going to say x is greater than or equal to 0. X is less than or equal to negative 8. You can always check your work. If I put a number in here, let's try negative 5. Oh, that would work. If I put negative 5 plus 1, I'm going to get negative 4. Is the absolute value of negative 4 greater than or equal to 4? It is. So it does work in here. Let's try another number. Negative 2. Well, negative 2, oh, that doesn't work. Negative 2 plus 1 would give me 1. Okay. Oh, that's why, because I put a 4 here. So that's why it's wrong, because I copied down the problem wrong. So it should be, the slate is horrible, I apologize. Can we see? Okay, I put a 4 there, that's why it's not working. That's why we should check our work. Okay, and this is why I use my iPhone a lot, because this camera tends to be out of focus. So it should have been negative 3. Let's rewrite this, and it should be negative 5. So your equation should be I'm greater than negative 3, but I am less than negative 5. All right, let's pick a number between there. Negative 4. If I put negative 4 in, negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. That is not going to be greater than 4 at distance. Okay, so this was the incorrect one. That was the right one. That's why it's important to check your work. Okay, now what if they don't have the absolute value bars by themselves? It says, note the absolute value is to be isolated before the solution begins. So we got to move that 4 over to then create our two cases. X plus 3 is less than 4, and x plus 3 is greater than negative 4. When I solve, I'm going to get x is less than 1 and x is greater than negative 7. Go ahead and graph. Negative 7, positive 1. I want to be less than 1, but I want to be greater than negative 7. Let's make sure it works. If I put 0 back in, you can put 0 back into this equation or this equation. We can go with this. 0, yep, that's going to work. If I put a 5 in there, 5 plus 3 is 8. That's not going to be true. If I put a negative 10, that's not going to work. So that's your answer. Good job. Here, I have to get rid of the 7. It's being multiplied, so I divide. Now we can set up our two equations. R minus 2 is less than or equal to 7, and R minus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 7. We flip for the negative. When we solve the inequality, these are our solutions. 9, negative 5. Close circle, close circle. Now let's see if it works. If we put 0 in, negative 2, the absolute value of negative 2. Yep, it's going to work. We put a number over here in, let's say 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 times 7 is 56. It won't work. That's why there's no shade. Over here, let's try negative 10. It's going to be negative 12. Yep, that's not going to work. So our solution's correct. All right, your homework is those 8 problems, 314, 2, 5, 7. Remember, you're supposed to be writing this in your planner. When you see me at the beginning of the week, I tell you guys, okay, get out your planners, and you are writing them down. Some of you just still aren't. Make sure you are, because your planner is 5% of your grade. And at the end of the quarter, I check your planner, okay? So those are your 8 problems. Email me if you have any questions.